Hello and welcome to my channel Making Crafts. Today I'm going to be doing a little mixed media project, and most of these products are new to me that I'm going to be using for the mixed media part, but I have started playing with them and enjoyed them, so I wanted to do a little video of using them. And this is my rubberbuggy.com design team project, and so these items came from the Rubber Buggy. And so the first thing that's new to me is the indigo blue stamps. And so this is a small stamp as well as this one. They're very inexpensive stamps, and they're rubber stamps though, and I really like them. So the first one is this one. It's just a bunch of jumbled up letters on, rubber stamp just on a square here. And then the other one is the bumblebee. So when you get the bumblebee, it's on a little rectangle as well, and it has all the bumblebees on the same one. I did not want to use them that way, so I have cut mine apart, and they do look pretty rough when I cut them apart, but I'm not worried about that because I'm going to be using them, and I'm really concerned about how they stamp, not how the actual piece looks. So for this one, you can see I've been stamping off after I cut it out, and you're going to need really sharp scissors if you decide to cut yours out as well. You could just use it like this and stamp it around with the bees like this, but I wanted to be able to use my bees separately. So you can see here there's some lines around it when I stamped it. So what I did is I went in and shaved on the edges so that didn't happen. And I haven't really done a lot with this one, but so far it's been stamping okay. So I'm not adjusting it. And this one I did not have to go in and really, I trimmed off some of the edges just because they were showing through when I stamped them. So that is the stamps. And then I'm going to be using some stencils, and you can see I've already stained them up spraying these sprays, but this is newspaper print from Ciao Bella. This one is a swirls, and I can't remember the name of it, and it is from Stamperia. And then this is the, I think, tree branches from Ciao Bella, but I will link those below. I'm also going to be using just some white cardstock that I had on hand. And then for my mixed media part, I am using some gloss spray by Dina Wakely. I'm not sure. I've seen her name around a lot, but I don't know that I've ever heard it pronounced. So I'm using the cheddar in the gloss spray. I'm also using the lime, and I am using the eggplant. And these are just the three colors that I chose that I thought would look good together. And they're the three that I chose from the Rubber Buggy, but I will be getting more because I really love these sprays. So let's start with our little piece first and just get warmed up. So for it, what I want to do first is I just want to, let's see, I want to use the letter stencil. And I need to make sure I got it turned the right way so my letters aren't backwards. And then I'm just going to spray it with the eggplant. And this is a little bit of a messy craft, but it's a lot of fun. So then I'm just going to take another piece of paper. Let me see if I got a piece of scrap paper over here. And I'm just going to rub off and just get that reverse image because we could use it in a project as well. And so the letters will be backwards, but still, I love that reverse image. So then we'll just pull this up, and there we have our letters. And so now, let me wipe it off the paper towel just a little bit. So now we're just going to go back with some of our cheddar, and then some of the lime. And you see it's going to resist, on top of the other colors, so it doesn't actually blend. These sprays do not really blend, and I haven't noticed a lot of blending. It's like wherever there's white, it's going to sit. If you already have paint, it's not going to cover those up. Now, if I hadn't dabbed it, I think it will dry, kind of leaving a haze over it, but I like to dab it so I can get all my letters back out. Now that is a bit busy. I should have left some space, but we'll see. Let's let it dry, and then we'll add our bee, and if it's too busy, we'll make another one and try that one. So now for the next one, let's work with our larger paper. So I'm going to make this into a little journal, and I think it'll be a cute little journal. So let's take, and first I want to, let's see, I'm just going to go through with the eggplant, and I'm just going to spray some lines across, and it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just random. I just want it to file random, and then I want to go back with my cheddar. And oh, I don't know if I mentioned at the beginning, but you do have to shake these. They do settle at the bottom, and I have a habit of shaking them each time I pick them up, but I really probably don't have to do that. But I do shake them at the very beginning of my session of painting. So I'm just going to add some cheddar in. And then we're going to add in some lime. And then I'll probably come back with some more eggplant because I need a little bit more dark in there. Wherever there's white. Like I said, it won't stay. It won't actually, I don't think it really soaks in that much. It may leave a haze, but it does fill in any of the white space. Let's just dab that a little bit and see how that's looking. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. And you know, we do have some white space here, so we could add in another color just to blend in. I think I'll go with the lime. It'll just fill in where it's white. And then we have some white space down here on the corner. Just going around, just brightening it back up. So we're just going to dab it. Right now it doesn't look like much, but this is a lot of fun. Even though it doesn't look like a lot, it still is a lot of fun. And I'm seeing some white. I wonder if I could get some more of this purple in. Maybe not, but we'll see. Add a little bit more of the purple. Let that sit for just a second, see if it can soak in more. I really don't know the science behind this one, so it may not will soak in more. But see, there was enough white where we just sprayed it that it did blend in some. So I like that. I'm liking how that's looking. So now let's start adding, well, actually I'm going to have to let it dry. And I'll tell you what, let's let this be the inside because I forgot that I wanted to add a stencil to it first. And you can't add a stencil afterwards. You have to remember that with this, and I totally forgot that. So let's use this as the inside of our journal because we're going to have to do the inside anyway. And let's just go ahead and use this as the outside. And let's add some stencils to it. So I want to just add a little stencil here. And I think this time I just want it to be kind of faint in the background. So I'm just going to do some yellow. And I'm not going to fill the whole stencil in this time. I'm just going to add a little bit here and there. And then I'll just take and get the reverse image onto my cardstock here for my scrap paper that I may use later. And then we have that there. And then let's take a little bit of tree branches here and let's spray in some leaves. So I'm just going to do it random about. I'm not going to fill in the whole stencil like I did with the letters. And then we can take this side and we can just rub it off. And so you kind of get a reverse image. I love that reverse image on that one. I probably should have dabbed it with a paper towel. That's okay. And then let's see, what do we want to add? I want to add something down in here. What if we just put some of the letter stencil down in here? And let's go back with the green. I'm trying to keep the stenciling in the background faint this time instead of as dark as before. I'm just going to dab that off with a paper towel. So there we have some of the letters in the background. So now let's go in with our spray and just kind of go across, adding some lines in. Just random, nothing particular. And then I'm going to come in again with my cheddar. And then with my lime. And let's add a little bit more cheddar around the sides here. And let's take a look. Maybe a little bit more of the purple scattered about. Where there could be some white, this purple will soak in. Like I said before, it's not going to actually soak in if there's no white space. Okay, that is a lot of yellow there, but let's just pat it off. And now, when I pat it off, you're going to see something. So you think that I covered that stencil totally up by just spraying over it, but with these paints, like I said, it doesn't really soak in to where the first spray is. So as you can see, you can still see that stencil underneath there, and I really love that. Now I'm thinking in here we need a little bit more cheddar maybe, and maybe a little bit more purple. Kind of got it, when it went straight up, I kind of got my line off where I'm trying to do the diagonal line, but there we go, that's looking good. And let's see, maybe in here needs a little bit more lime green. Just the white where there is, it's where it's going to soak in. It's not going to soak in where the other paint is, so but I am seeing some white spots, so I'm thinking we could get that soaked in. But you can still faintly see our stencil underneath, and that's what I like. And so right now it looks super busy, and it's not as pretty as that I think it's gonna turn out to be. So right now it does look busy, and you can't really see where this is going, but let's let it dry and then I'll show you. So while that one is drying, let's work on one more. What if we took this one that we already have all this bits and pieces on, or let's take this one that has the leaves. We could do the whole thing, actually. There's no reason why we couldn't. And let's see, what do we want to add to it? Like I said, it's not going to really cover each other up. So I'm going to say, I think I want some purple. Well, I keep calling it purple. It's eggplant, excuse me. And then a little bit of cheddar. And I'm just random with this. I love just playing with these and just seeing what we come out with. I really kind of have a vision, but then at the same time, I'm just playing with the colors and seeing what I can get as I spray them. I think that's just a lot of fun, just playing and seeing what you can get and not stressing. This is just paper. If it turns out ugly, we can just throw it in the trash, right? Or we can use it for kindling, for our wood stove. You know, we can use it for whatever. But it's not that big a deal because it's just fun and relaxing to play with these. I have so much fun just doing stuff like this. Maybe it doesn't have a purpose, but one purpose is it's good therapy for me. And so now I'm just going to dab it. And I will say it does get on your hands. It does take a bit to wash it off. Some spots came off really good for me, but other spots where my skin is dry, it seems to stay. It doesn't want to go away. So I'm liking that. That's a very, even though the letters are back, I still like that. Even though the letters are backwards, I said half my word. I do that sometimes, cut off my words. So even though the letters are backwards, I still like that. And then you can still see the tree over here, the tree stencil. And you can still see some of the swirls in there. So now let's let that dry for a few minutes. And I think this one is already dry and ready for us. So let's see what we can do with it. So it is curled up when it dries, but you can, this is, let me look and tell you real quick what cardstock this is. This is 65-pound cardstock. It's just the basic cardstock that you would get when you go to Walmart or something in the office supply section. I just like to get a lot of that just to use for things like this. So let's see here. Oh, and the feel of this, where it's a gloss spray, it totally changes the feel of the paper. You can see it's a shinier paper, and it makes it feel thicker. It makes it feel more flexible, but I really don't know why, but it's very shiny and very pretty. So what do we want to do with this? Let me get my blending tool out, and I've got some black memento ink, and I like using this one because it doesn't seem to run on me when I'm using other things. It doesn't seem to smear as much. Now, I will tell you, when you stamp this gloss, it does not soak in the ink like regular paper would once you've got this gloss spray on it. So you've got to be real careful and let the ink dry when you do stamp it, because if you don't, then it's going to smear. But actually, I had some to smear that I was playing with yesterday, and I thought it kind of gave to the whole texture of this, and I actually liked it. So let's see, what do I want to add to this? Where is my swirl stamp? So I've got so many pieces drying, I don't know where to lay everything. So here's my swirl stamp. So I'm just going to come in with some ink, and I'm just going to do these swirls on here. And I really like the black ink with these bright colors. So there's a little bit there, and maybe we'll put a little bit on the upper corner here. Like I said, I am just experimenting and playing with these. Each time, when I'm using these, I've been trying something different. I don't want to have the same pattern every time. What if we add a little bit of tree leaves in, or tree limbs in, and tree branches? That's what it's called. I keep forgetting. I think it's called tree branches. Just add a little bit in there, and that adds just a little bit more to the project. Gotta be careful with this one. It's got so many little pieces. So there we go. And I do like to ink around these with black ink. I think that looks really good to frame it out. And yes, this isn't my typical colors either. I know last week I did the dark purples, and with the blacks, that's not typically my colors. I do a lot of shabby chic normally, or something I would consider shabby chic or farmhouse or something like it. I don't know what you would call what I normally do. It's more lighter colors and not these brighter, darker colors. But I'm having fun with these colors, so I kind of just go with the flow of what I'm wanting to do. I don't make myself stick to a certain theme or certain style. If I am enjoying the darker colors, then that's what I do. And if that's what's normally, I'm pulled towards more pinks and light browns and the vintage look. But for some reason this month, this is what I've been pulled towards. So this is what I'm doing because I'm having a lot of fun with it. So you don't, when you're a crafter, you don't have to stick with one theme or one type of craft. You can do all kinds of stuff. So I'm probably being an enabler now because if you do, if you're like me, then you're going to have tons of supplies. But it's fun to have all these things. So I think I'm just going to add a little bee. Or big bee. I'm going to add the big bee, I should say. Let me, since I didn't clean it last night, let me just stamp off on my drop cloth. See, I had that line there, so I did think about that yesterday. I need to go ahead and cut that line. I'm just going to have to go in and I'll just cut it at an angle, but for today I'm just going to wipe it clean and make sure I don't get ink on it. So when you cut your own stamps, you do have to pay attention to that. But it is, with rubber stamps, I know years ago it was not uncommon to have to cut your stamps and put them on blocks. So many of you are probably used to trimming out your stamps anyway. I'm not the neatest at it. I just try to get it so that when I stamp the image, it's beautiful. I don't worry about what the stamp itself looks like. Let's see. Because most of the things that I have in my craft room, I use it so much and use it up that there's no chance that I'll ever resell it because it's going to be so used up. Unless it's something I really don't use much, then maybe I would. So that looks really good. But he is kind of blending in, isn't he? But that's okay. I should have left a little bit more white space, but that's okay. Let's just see how it dries and how it looks when he dries. We are just playing and it's no big deal. So let's do our little guy, and I'm going to stamp him off over here to make sure I've got him figured out. Okay. Let's see, maybe he goes up here. And you know what? There's a little bit of black I got around the edge there. What I found with this gloss spray, just don't hit my little bee. I actually can wipe it in, blend it in just a little bit when this gloss spray is on, which is kind of neat. I wonder if I should do another bee anywhere, or should I just, let's let it be for now. Let me stamp that off out of my way, kind of clean my stamp off. Okay, and let's see, where is the little block? So now let's just add these letters. Even though it's super busy, it may not need these letters, but I'm going to add just a few to see what it looks like. Okay. I kind of like it, even though it's super busy. This is our first practice piece, so we don't have to stress if it doesn't turn out perfect, do we? Just a little bit there. Let's set that aside to dry, and let's see if this one's dry enough. It's not dry enough to play with yet. This one is not either, so let me take just a moment and dry those, and then I'll come back. Okay, so this piece is dry now, and here is what we said was going to be the inside, and this was going to be the outside because it's got the stenciling. But now I'm debating because this one somehow turned out lighter, and I really like the bright for the outside. So I'm trying to decide, does it really need the stenciling in the background for the outside? And I'm saying no, because I'm going to go ahead and add some stenciling to it, and let's just see. And if it does, then we'll just flip it over and it could be the inside. So first I want to add some more of my swirls to the outside here. So I'm just going to put some in the corner here. And I am trying to get it darker, so I'm just rubbing over it several times. And then I want to add some up here in this corner. Let's see how that looks. I do like that. And maybe we'll put a little bit up here. I am just playing, so we'll see how it turns out. And maybe a little bit down here so it can all even out. Down in here some. There we go. So then let's go in with our leaves, just a little bit maybe. maybe we'll just add a little bit, maybe right in here. And, maybe just a few in this corner. Hope I don't get it too busy. That's what I'm kind of going for, is a kind of busy look. And then let's take our letter stencil and just add a few letters. Make sure you get your letters turned the right way when you do this. So I'm just going to add a few in, like here. And this is the back side of our journal, and then this is the front. And now I think that's all I'm going to do. Well, maybe I'll put a few right here. Trying to decide. Or maybe a few leaves could go right in there, like they're coming into the page. Just trying to decide which ones. So there we go. And so now let's start doing our stamping. So first I'm just going to stamp these letters, and I hit that too loud. I'm sorry about that noise. Let me stamp off and make sure I didn't get on too many edges. I'm going to clean those edges off. See, I was afraid of that. So let's just clean it off. All over our drop cloth. Okay. Okay, so now let's just stamp off maybe in that corner. And then we'll get us some more ink. And we'll stamp here. I love this stamp for a background stamp. I think I want some maybe right in here. And I think I'll put one somewhere in the middle here. There we go. And remember, this will smear if you don't let it dry. So let that dry for a few minutes before you touch it. So the next thing we're going to, and I may go back and add more. I just want to leave that for now and add my bee before I fill in all the spaces, and then my little bee doesn't have anywhere to fly around. So let's give him a little spot first. And I'm going to wipe that right there and right there. Okay. So I'm going to put him right here. So I'm going to be really careful, and hopefully I don't smudge it. There we go. Oh, he's adorable. Okay, so then let's add in the little bitty bees. I'm trying to see which one I had. So I think I'll put one in here. And then let's just change it up so I have different ones. Make sure I'm stamping him correctly. Then I think I'll put him right up here. And what if we put some bees on this side as well? Maybe a little one there. And, oops, you know what? Let's use our other bee. Because they do look a little different, the bees do. So this one has stripes, whereas this one's more like a bumblebee. That one looks more like a hornet or a wasp, maybe. Okay, make sure I got those lines not. So then let's just put this one here. And then maybe here, so they're flying around, so they're all over here. And then I think I'm going to come back, and I'm not going to put this one on the block. I'm just going to use my hands and just stamp it in some places so that we have more letters. There we go. And maybe trying to miss my little bee. He may have some little letters on him. So here is our busy little cover so far. Let's let this dry for just a second, and then we'll see if it needs something else. Okay, so I think our cover is dry enough now that we can start inking it and playing with it. So I'm just going to go through and just ink the edges, and I am letting it go over the edges some because I really want to add a frame to it, and I kind of want it to blend out onto the cover. That makes sense. And I'm really coming in the corners here, and I'm really getting it to come around the corner and go in on the cover some. So the way I came up with this project was yesterday I was playing with the papers. I was actually making tags and journaling cards, and then it turned into when I was using one of the papers that I was decorating the paper up, and I was going to cut it into tags or journaling cards. And then I looked at it and I was like, wait a minute, this needs to be a journal. So that's how I got this whole idea that I'm going to show you what I'm doing. So let's see here. I've inked that in. We need to ink the back side, and do we want to decorate the back side any? I do want to ink it, and then we'll see. I don't know if I told you what measurement this is. This is 8 by 7, so it's 8 inches wide and 7 inches tall. So our journal will be 4 inches wide by 7 inches tall when we get done. So now we're just going to come in, we're just going to fold this and have it. I'm going to tell you, the paper feels so different once you have put this gloss spray on it. It just feels almost like it's got a, I don't know, like a plastic coating, and maybe the spray is. I'm not sure how to explain it, but I love the feel of it. I love how it feels and how substantial it feels. And so this is our cover, and that's the back of our cover, and I really love how this is turning out. I'm going to take this little piece that we made earlier, and it's very busy, but we're going to cut it down to be a pocket. So let's see. I don't want to cut my bee off, so what I may do is kind of go in that corner there. So what I'm doing is putting the corner in the top, but then the bottom is not going to be the other corner because I don't want to cut off my little bee. So let me see if that's going to work. Yes, he won't get cut off that way. So now we have a pocket for here, and then we'll take this one and we'll use it as a pocket up here, like that. So let's go ahead and ink the parts that we cut because there's no ink on those. And there, you can put that there. It's super busy, isn't it? But that's okay. So let's go ahead and add it. But do we want to, so since we have all that busyness, do we want to add something? I think the inside should be sort of simple like it is, because if we add too much, it's going to be too busy. We could add some stenciling, but let's just glue this in first. Okay, here's my bottle of glue. So I'm just going to glue along 2 edges here. And this will be a top tuck on one side, and then we'll have a bottom pocket on the other. And before you do this, be sure that your ink is dry. If not, you're going to rub it off some. So you want to be sure that your ink is dry before you start gluing this, because when you have to press this, it is going to smear your ink some. So now I'm just going to glue all of these 3 sides. I'm just going to add this to my pocket, or to my journal cover. So now, once we get this done, yesterday I got to this point and I was like, okay, I've made a cover, and I was just going with the flow when I made it, and that's how a lot of my crafting goes, not planned, just playing around and going with the flow. And so that's what I did yesterday. And then I thought to myself, okay, so now, making sure that's going to be okay there, it's going over a little ways. I thought to myself, now what am I going to do for journal paper? What should I use? And so I was looking around trying to think what would work for a journal paper for this type of journal. And I decided that I knew exactly what would work. The perfect thing for this is to take our drop cloth, and we're going to cut it down and make it our journal paper. So that's what I'm going to do next. So what I'm going to do is I just lay my book here and decide about how wide I want it, and then I'm going to fold it over. So I'm seeing about, let's just lay it right here. I want to come to about right there and just fold it over. And that's what I do. I just eyeball it. And what we'll do, once I do that, I'm just going to press this down. Remember, this is just our drop cloth. It's pretty thick paper that they wrapped it in, so I thought this would be good. So I'm just going to lay it inside here and take a peek and make sure that that size will not stick out of my journal, and it's not going to. So I'm just going to take my scissors. Now, I did try to tear it yesterday, but what I'm using here is not tearing well. I'm not sure what it is. It's not tissue paper. It's kind of like the brown paper that comes in your packaging when you order something, but instead this one is got more of a yellow cream color to it, or tan color to it, I guess you should say. And so it is not tearing well, which I may try to tear some because I just want that look on some of the pages, and I don't want it to tear smooth, but I want some of the pages to be correct. So we can take that fold back out now, and what we're going to do is we're going to see how many pages we can get out of this. So I just trimmed it down. So now we're just going to take, for the height, I like it to have just a little bit of border. So let me see how much border is going to be on the inside here. So when I put it in here, I'm noticing that it's a little narrow, so that's okay though. So what we're going to do is we're going to make the page height. So I'm just going to take my fingernail and figure out what the height needs to be, and then fold that. And I might can get 3 out of this. I can't remember yesterday if I could or not, but I'm okay with the pages being different sizes. So it may be a little shorter, that's okay. And since this one's narrow, the next pages I may make a little more wide. So let's just cut it across here and across here. So now we have 3 pages for our book. So this one we said we want it to be a little bit wider. So let's just put it in here, and I'm just going to get my pen here so I can mark where I think I want it. Maybe right in here. And then I'm going to fold that over so I have a cut line. Like this. And I'm just going to trim that up. I'm just using my fold lines as a place to trim. This does not have to be perfect. This is supposed to be a grungy little journal. And guess what I did? I've got a lot of distractions going on behind me, and so I cut this wrong. I told you wrong. So we should have folded it over and then cut it. But we'll use this in there. Let's just hold that aside. So we do need to fold this over to the right width and then cut it. I am sorry about that. There is some distractions going on behind me. My printer keeps going off. Somebody in the house is sending something to the printer, and it's very distracting. So I was trying to figure out what's going on behind me. So yeah, that'll be good width. That'll be fine like that. And then we should get another 3 pages out of that. And then we'll have some shorter pages. So let's just fold this over now. And hopefully this is making sense. We're just making pages. If this doesn't work your way, just cut out some pages that will fit your journal. You don't have to do it the way I'm doing it. It's just what works for me. This is just what makes it easier for me to turn these into journal pages. I'm just cutting them down. I'm just folding them, making them the width that I need, and then the height. And like I said, they don't have to be the perfect height. So now let's make these the right width, and they can be shorter pages in our journal. We'll have one there. And these make some really cool pages for our journal because they have all the same colors on them as your book does. So this, see, look at that. That's going to be a cute little page in the journal. Okay, so we got those here. These, how we're going to use these, because I did, oh, that was so pretty too. So he's got to go in there, doesn't he? So maybe be like this, and we make sure we catch him in there. Let's see, can we do that? Okay, that'll work like that. So we make sure we get him. Maybe like this, yes. So we'll just trim that down. This is just really using, this is a total junk journal for sure. This is just using what we would have thrown away because it was our drop cloth, and we're going to turn him into, we're going to turn our drop cloth into more book pages. So let's just fold that over. And I'm going to fold this over this way. And let's see what we have as far as book pages. So I am going to turn them like this, some of them, so that we can see our ink, and then I'm just going to vary the pages in my journal. And you could, if you didn't want to use your drop cloth, you could definitely take and get out some paper, some tea stain paper or some paper that you have, and just ink it up with these inks. And I will probably do a project like that eventually. but you could ink it up. Today, I just really wanted to use my drop cloth. Well, yesterday I did, and so today I wanted to show you this cute little project, because I think it's a lot of fun to just do things like that. Things that you're going to throw away, turn them into something else. And then this could be a little mixed media journal, or it could actually be a journal where you keep your grocery list, or you could do anything with it. And so I don't know what I'll do with mine yet. I may just keep daily task lists that I need to do. Let me see, I'm just going to add some more pages in. Do want that little guy in there. Maybe I'll overlap it like that. And then we have this one. So this one could go with him like that. And, oh, here's another big page we could use. So what if we took this one and fold it this way? So this is just, and please don't get confused by this, the way I'm just flipping them. I know I'm going kind of fast with that, but, because I'm kind of assuming you've put journals together before, but if you haven't, there's tons of videos on my channel showing how to put journals together. But also, don't get confused, because this is just something fun that you can do, and do it however you want to do it. It does not have to be a certain measurements or a certain style. You just do what you want to do. So I'm just going to trim all the pages off to the same length here. And yes, they may be jagged, they may not be straight, but that's okay, because that's what we're going for. So our journal is pretty chunky now, so I'm not sure that I'm going to put any rip pages in it. Here is one that needs trimming because he's sticking out more than anybody else. I do want my pages to stay inside the cover and not hang out, because I want you to see the prettiness of the cover. And so here we go. And I think that fits in there nicely. One thing I do want to do is I'm just going to hold these pages together like this, and I'm going to grunge them up just randomly. So they're not all going to be grunged the same. I'm just going to grunge the edges of the pages up. So this is going to be a really grungy but colorful journal, because a lot of your journals are grungy, but they, and they don't have a lot of color to them. So this one, I'm doing a bit different. I'm going to make it grungy but colorful. So all the pages, like I said, won't be getting the ink. Don't stress that. Just randomly do like I'm doing. Just wipe it across. This is a lot of fun. This is definitely not nothing to stress. So there we have our cover. I think I may go back and ink a little bit more on it, but I'm going to go ahead and sew this in. So let's get our awl and our needle and thread. I've got some black wax thread that I'm going to use just to match the journal. So I'm just going to take some paper clips, and I am going to open it up here, and I'm just going to clip my pages together just so I can get them so they're not moving around. And then I'll probably just go ahead and go back here, and let's just clip it this way too. Clip it to the actual cover as well. And I'm just trying to kind of line my pages up and down even inside the journal. So then I'm just going to punch a little hole in the center. And I'm going to tell you, this is a little harder to punch where it's got that gloss spray on it. And then I'm going to punch it in the, just about a ½ inch down from the top of the paper, not of the cover. It's about an inch from the cover, it looks like, maybe. I'm just estimating, maybe 3/4. And there we go. So then, I'm just going to use my black thread. 1, 2, and 3. And I know many of you have seen me tie up journals together, sew up journals, so I'll try to do this quickly. And if you don't want to see me sew it up, that's fine. Just fast forward to the, you can fast forward to the finished journal. I am looking in here because some of my pages I did feel like had an up and down like this one was stamped on, which it really didn't in reality, but I just want to make sure that that one was up and down like I wanted it. So then I'm just going in and just doing the basic pamphlet stitch. I think it's what you call it, 3-hole stitch. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to stick it in my paper clip. And then I'm just going through the center and then through the top. And then back down to the bottom. Let's see here. My finger is still broke, so it is hurting when I do this. And I've been crafting for too long this morning already, so I'm going to have to bandage it back up because it's starting to swell, so I'm having trouble doing this. So I apologize for the how it's taking me a bit to get it through. My finger is not strong enough for this. So let's just tighten that up, okay, and then I'm going to come right back through the center. And maybe I should have made my holes just a little bigger. Okay, so then let's just pull it around the thread on two sides there, just like we normally do. And then we're going to tighten our threads. Remember not to pull so tight that you rip your pages, but you do want these tightened. And I know you can see the black threads right now, but I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to disguise that up some too. Those are tight enough. So now we're just going to tie a knot in them. 1, 2, and 3. Then I'm just going to trim these right there. Okay. So we have our little journal. So now what we want to do is we want to, so you see where we punched our holes? Well, this was white core paper, so of course you're going to see white when you punch your holes. So I'm just going to go back with some black ink, and I'm actually going to color in the spine as well, but I'm coloring in the holes as well too, because I'm just adding ink to my spine, so it all kind of blends in. And so I think that makes it look better. I'm going to press that down there so I can get it inked good. So I like that. And let's see. You can see how the edges of our pages, let me just pull it up here. I actually had it out. So hopefully you had that on camera. I wasn't even looking to see if I had it on camera, but so I'm just inking the spine is what I'm doing. And then I colored in those things, the holes. I said things, the holes. So I'm just going back. I want my edges to be a little bit darker, so I'm just going back and darkening those edges. And you do however you want it to be. You wouldn't even have to do your edges. If you don't like using dark colors, you could actually just use the bright colors and then not use the black ink like I'm doing. You could do a totally different color. I just wanted to show you a little fun project today. So here is our little journal. And so now we have our pages. And we have a little pocket, so let me show you with just some, if I can find a piece of paper. Here's one I sprayed the other day, and there we go. You could use it as a little pocket there, and see it stays in there. And then we have all of our different pages. So this one, you see, I folded it. Oops, it's torn anyway, so let's just, tell you what, let's just tear that off. Okay, so there. So that's what you can do with this one. There is no rules with this one. So I think this is a cute little journal to play around with. If you wanted to use this one to try different stamps in, or different sprays, you could spray a page to see what the color is going to be like. So this is a great little journal to have on hand. And so some of the pages, you know, you can see as you turn them, the paint's showing through though. But I like that, and see how some of the edges are darker than others, and then some of the edges got totally missed. I could go back and ink them if I wanted to. But I like how that turned out. And here's our little pocket here. I have no idea what I'll keep in that pocket, but I do like it. So this is our little journal. And there's so much more we could do to it. We could add a little eyelets and tie it shut. But I like it is, just a simple little journal like this. Well, I love how this journal turned out. And I hope you enjoyed seeing me make it. And I hope it inspires you to try something new and to create a little journal out of anything that you have laying around. This paper, I saved it when I got it last week with the candle wrapped in it, and I thought it was just going to be drop paper, but as I did the process, I thought this is really cool paper for this journal. So I hope that you've enjoyed this and that it has inspired you, and be sure to hit the like button below and subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. Well, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.